Good morning. My name's Sally Curtis. Now, today's discussion is about collaborative partnerships. And what I'd like to discuss with you today is actually how you can actually profit from them. Part of the discussion today will be going through and enabling you to understand the benefits of a collaborative partnership. We'll also discuss how they work for small businesses. We'll talk about the 7 keys that you need to know to get yourself ready and prepared for collaborative partnerships. And we'll also talk about the 2 major changes that are occurring globally that make collaborative partnerships such an exciting opportunity for you right now in your business. So that will be what today's discussion will be about. Now, I will share some information with you via a screen share as well, and we'll also just have an open-ended conversation. So the very first thing that I'd like to explain and share with you is, in actual fact, what are the major benefits of a collaborative partnership. So let me just share my screen with you. This is new technology for us today as well, so we're very excited by the fact that we're trying new technology. So this is me, Sally Curtis. What we're discussing today is the 7 key elements of profiting from partnerships, which is what we've got here. And what we're going to talk about here in this section is what are the benefits and why you should consider collaborative partnering. So you can certainly gain more leads in a much faster way, and this enables you to increase your profit results because you're able to collaborate with other people. The other great benefit is you get to increase and move from that one-to-one interaction that you have with customers to more of a one-to-many exposure. It enables you to increase your exposure to new clients, your existing clients, and create a different form of brand awareness that really taps into that word of mouth experience, which we'll go through later. You also get to gain access to something that you don't already have. So when you're forming a collaborative partnership with somebody, you may not have something in particular that you're looking for, and that enables you to gain access to that. So you may have a great product range, also a great informational product range, but you might be missing one element, and somebody else may have that element. So you gain access to that other element to support your product range for your customers, and vice versa for the other person. You also get to leverage both your brand and leverage off somebody else's brand, and that's where third-party endorsements and the relationship of those come in. You also get to build your relationships with other people, with your prestige and significance within your local community as somebody that's a leader in that area. And you also get to build a reputation. Perhaps somebody else that you're working with has a slightly higher reputation than you do in a particular industry. So that's a great way of creating leverage and fast-tracking success as well. You get to exchange value with each other. You get to invigorate and re-engage that customer interaction with your brand and who you are. You can also create something bigger or newer and then bigger for your product offering also. By considering collaborative partnering and partnering with others, whether that's one or many, you get to open up new markets and new industries for your product and services, and that obviously is another way to generate leads and bring in revenue for your business. You get to deliver a better service or product by focusing on your strengths, which is something we'll go through when I go through the 7 steps. And you get to have your needs filled, whether you're looking for reaching more customers, finding more distribution channels, completing or starting content, or even facilities, having a great facility or a great venue or a function room or a boardroom is an undervalued and overlooked value that you can actually offer to somebody else. So there's some of the key benefits of a collaborative partnership. So the real things there, if you nut it down to some simple words, is you get to do lead generation. You also get to retain customers longer increase your good quality, better customers, and you get to bring more fun and diversity back into your business. And of course, the really, really big one is you get to look for and achieve the opportunity of having additional income streams, which we'll go through a little bit further later on as well. So let me just stop sharing the screen and just come back so we can actually have our conversation, so you can actually have a chat with me. So I'd like to firstly explain what actually is a collaborative partnership. Now this is can be big and small businesses, but let's take into the theme here that we're looking at those small to medium-sized businesses in this particular case, because that's generally where the real significant, quick, fast collaborative opportunities can occur for people. So a collaborative partnership is 2 or more businesses working together to produce an outcome whilst they retain their individual identities. So let me repeat that. A collaborative partnership is where 2 or more businesses come together to create an outcome together whilst they retain their individual identities. So 2 businesses coming together still remain the 2 businesses, still have their identity separate, but they just come together to create a business or an opportunity or something together. The difference with that is when people have done that a few times, they want to do that bigger than a collaborative partnership, and that's where they actually may merge together and create something bigger than themselves. So then they go from that individual to let's actually combine and work together and make something bigger. So that's the definition of a collaborative partnership as I see it. Now, some examples of collaborative partnerships in very, very simple terms is as simple as a hairdresser and a fashion jewellery business working together or cross-promoting each other. That can be simple as the fashion designer jewellery person displays some of their product within the hairdressing salon. The hairdressing salon then has them on display, gets to showcase their products. They may share in some of those profits, so they're promoting each other that way. And of course, the fashion jewellery lady in her premise would have special offers or opportunities to go and see the hairdresser. So that's a very, very simple, just a cross promotion, but it is still a collaborative partnership where 2 businesses are working together to help each other reach and target more customers through their own businesses. Now, if you take that scenario a little bit further, so if we're looking at perhaps a Tampa Nights scenario, and these are very, very easy to put together and lots of fun. So let's still use your hairdresser, let's still use your fashion jewellery designer, but we'll bring in a cafe that can assist with some catering, or a catering company. We'll also look at bringing in a makeup artist. So you've got a variety of different businesses there: hairdresser, catering company, the fashion jewellery lady, and a makeup artist. You've all got similar clientele, and you decide between you that you'll put on a Tampa Night event for each of your customers. You'll all each invite all of your customers to the event, but what you're actually doing is each showcasing what it is that you offer in a quick and fun environment. You're bringing in the catering because you've found that enables people to have some fun and makes it light-hearted and makes it feel more like that community spirit. So the hairdresser would go through and share the latest design and upstyle for perhaps parties and etc. or weddings. The fashion jewellery person could display some of their latest jewellery and explain some of the trends that are occurring within the fashion jewellery industry and how you wear or how you layer jewellery. The caterer can provide obviously samples of their range, but they can also talk about where they specialise, how they're different to their marketplace, and what they have to offer as catering opportunities if somebody's having their own private party at home or a birthday or an event with their work, etc. And then of course the makeup artist can then come in and demonstrate the latest trends or the latest colours within the makeup industry. Now, if you imagine if you've got 20, 30 women in the room learning and being educated on some of the new things that are coming, you've got perhaps some wine involved, and you've certainly got some food involved. These women are having a really great experience. It's relaxed, it's customer focused, it's about them. So they go away from that night having had a fabulous experience, something that's different, that's outside of the box. It's not something a normal hairdresser would do if they were invited by the hairdresser, for example. They've been made to feel extra special. They've been made to feel like that VIP, that very important person, or that very important customer. So do you think it's possible that they're likely to share and tell all their friends about that? Absolutely. And that's the magic you can create with collaborative partnering events when you're working together, is really leverage that word of mouth opportunity. And I'll share with you some marketing statistics as I go through the discussion today as well. And one of them is that 9 out of 10 customers will actually pay more for superior service. So if you're known in your marketplace for providing superior service and a fun environment on a quarterly basis or monthly basis, then that's certainly going to allow you to increase your prices over time, because you're creating a community and experience that each of the customers get to experience, and they're certainly going to be sharing you with their girlfriends. One of the other examples of marketing statistics that marries really beautifully into collaborative partnerships is that on average, a loyal customer, and you've probably heard these statistics before, on average a loyal customer is worth 10 times as much as its first purchase, as much as their first purchase. That's been around for a while. The other ones is the probability of selling to new customers and the probability of selling to existing customers. So the probability of selling to a new customer, somebody that's cold, that's brand new to you, is between 5 and 20%. So let me say that again. Selling to a new customer, the opportunity there is between a 5 to 20% outcome, potential outcome. When you're selling to an existing customer, it increases dramatically to that 60 to 70%. So let me say that again. Existing customers, you have an opportunity to sell to an existing customer, and it increases to 60 to 70%. Now, the real beauty of knowing that is when you're in a collaborative partnership environment, say like the Tampa Nights example that I shared before, when you're working with and alongside somebody else, and they're sharing with you their loyal customers, the likelihood of their loyal customers buying from you, because they're acting as a third-party endorser for you as well, also enables you to take advantage of that 60 to 70% of an existing customer. Even though they're new to you, that third-party endorsement increases your potential to sell to that customer, because they are more like an existing customer than a brand new customer where you've only got a 5 to 20%. You've increased your opportunity, your selling opportunity, your potential for profit up to and between that 60 to 70% likelihood. So partnering in that way simply makes sense from a profitability and a lead generation opportunity. So let me share with you another example of how easy collaborative partnerships can come about through simple conversations over dinner. Now, Tyson and I were out with friends of ours over the Christmas period, and the husband was teasing his wife about her lack thereof of using an app that she needs to use for her work that tracks her kilometres. The funny thing was, she'd actually had this app for 2 years, but really hadn't got round to using it. And the reason she hadn't is because it wasn't intuitive. The app itself was great. The technical things about it, recording the kilometres that she used for work, was great. But in her word, it would be ideal if as she started the car, that it would click and it would log something. So it would take that thinking process for her. Probably in a female's perspective, it would be perhaps potentially unlikely that that could occur, but for the people that are technical, sometimes those things that we think can't be done actually can be done very, very easily. And her partner was teasing her about this, and my partner talks and works with people that create algorithms and those sorts of things, and are very good at coding and do create apps. Well, the boys got into this discussion of how it could be possible, and really did actually work out how they could actually tweak an existing app and make it better. Well, it was funny because they know the app people that created their app, and Tyson actually knows the person that can tweak the coding. So there was a discussion about an opportunity where they could create something together from something that was already there, and that was just a simple 5-minute conversation over dinner. But that's how you can create collaborative partnerships very easily in a different form. Another common example of collaborative partnerships and cross-promotion is list exchanges. So that's where you have a list of 1,000 people and somebody else has a list of 1,000 people, and you share that database. Now, some of the scenarios and some of the statistics which I've just got here, so let me just grab those so I can remember and get the numbers right. On average, if you're sending out around 1,000 emails, the likelihood of the 1,000 being delivered gets reduced to about 800 emails. So from your 1,000 people on a database, 800 of the emails actually get to somebody. Of that 800, about 160 of those emails actually get opened. And from that 160 that get open, there's usually about 10% that click on something. So you get 16 people that have actually clicked on it. And then somebody that's actually opting in is really just comes down to just 4 people opted in. So let me just run through that again. You've got 1,000 people on a database. You've got 800 emails that actually reach an email box. You have 160 people actually open it. You have 16 that click through, and you have 4 people that actually opt in. So that means they've actually purchased something. So from 1,000, you've actually end up with 4 people that will actually purchase a product or a service. So say that's your example. So you have the end result being 4 people. And say the other person that you're working also has a list of 1,000 people, but for whatever reason, their customers decide that they like the headline perhaps more than yours. But you find that from the 160 that was open, they have 32 people that click through, and they achieved 16 sales. So that's how a list exchange could work. And I'm going to explain the positives and the problems that come out of that, and we'll also talk about those a little bit later. One of the significant things that you need to be aware of is firstly having that conversation up front, that no matter what they're doing, they're starting with the same beginning, but the end result could be different for each of them. So you got 4 out of it and they've got 16 out of it. And you need to be okay with that up front. So you need to understand how a list exchange could work. You could get all or nothing, and that's the way it works. The other thing, just on sheer numbers alone, if you're looking at dramatically increasing your lead generation and you're thinking list exchange is a way to do that, this also exemplifies that 1,000 names on a list is not going to give you hundreds of new leads. It may give you 4. So if you're looking at that as a way of building a business, then you need to have more of those list exchange collaborative partnerships. In fact, you're going to have to need a lot of them to make it functionally beneficial for you. So that's another version of a list exchange, or another way of collaborating. So let me give you a bit of an idea of how you can actually get yourself ready for a collaborative partnership. And I'll just take you through by sharing the screen again. How to prepare for a collaborative partnership. Okay, so let's just slide up. So there's actually 7 steps that I share with people when I'm working with people of how you get yourself collaboratively ready. And keeping in mind, this talk is about how you profit from collaborative partnerships, and how you profit from anything is making sure you're prepared, planned, and you've got it all worked out. And this is really the 7 quick and easy steps that you need to be aware of to make yourself collaborative ready and to guarantee the success for yourself and your partner in the best and biggest way possible. So let's have a look at these 7 steps. The first one that you can see there is your value. The second step is what you're understanding your giftedness. The third step is your partnership offer. The fourth step is the discovery, so who are your partners? The fifth step is one of the critical ones of maximising your success, and that's understanding your credibility loop. The next one is having courageous confidence, because you know what the results will be. You can plan in advance. And then, of course, the last one is achieving the results that you set out to achieve. So let me now go through each of these steps one by one and give you the information as to what makes these so significant and how you can actually prepare for them for yourself. So the first one is your value. So what does this really mean? Your value is what can you bring to the table? What is it of value that you have that you can share with another party? It could be the list like we talked about before. You could have a particular style or profile of clients that somebody else could utilize. So you could cross-promote and share clients. You may have particular connections within an industry or an industry type. Or you may just have a very, very large network of really significant connections across the board. You may have particular expertise based on your industry or your past experience or your education. You also may have products to sell and cross-promote, where you could share some of those profits, and that's where you can get into sharing and adding income streams to your own business. You may have specialised knowledge. Again, that could be specifically to what it is you're currently doing or how you've built a business or how you go about a business in general, or again, past educational knowledge. You may have a venue. As I said at the very beginning, this is often an overlooked value that you have. You may have a really great boardroom. You may have a venue that's got a large area where you could have that VIP night or that collaborative pamper night. And you may have a really good reputation either in your community or in a particular group of networks or in the industry that you're involved in. So that's all the types of things that come to your value and things that you can bring to the table when you're considering collaborative partnerships. The next thing is your giftedness. Now, you all know you've got skills. And there's certain things that you do effortlessly and naturally that others find difficult. Now, what is most common here, most people don't even know what that is about them. They don't know what they do naturally and effortlessly, but I can guarantee you your friends do. And that natural giftedness is just something you do totally, totally easy. And adding that to your value is a really great tool, because it's something that you can bring to the table that will make things much easier for the overall collaborative partnership that you're putting together. Because if you've got two people working with their natural giftedness, then it just makes things bubble along and rock really, really well. The third step is your partnership offer. Now, this is actually packaging up your needs, so you also need to explore, what is it that I need? So I've got this value, I know what my giftedness is, I know what value I can bring to the table. But what do I actually need? What am I going to get from this reciprocal relationship? And you need to be very clear on what it is that you're actually needing. Again, if you look at the value list, you might be looking for a particular type of expertise. You might be looking for certain types of connections, or you just might be looking for a particular type of clients, and that cross-promotion, collaborative partnership, or VIP night or pamper night could work really, really well for you. The opportunity in here is understanding how you can actually package up your value, your giftedness, and your needs, and put it into a partnership offer that's clear and concise, easy to explain to somebody else, and easy for them to understand and get. Because if you can explain it easily and somebody understands it really quickly, then that creates joint venture opportunities really, really fast. So it's about leveraging your opportunities by having done the preparedness beforehand. The next critical thing in being partnership ready is the discovery. Who are your partners going to be? What do they need to look like? Where are they? And I can guarantee to you that they are probably hidden in plain sight in your existing and current network. Now, please, please don't say to me that you don't know anyone. I'm just going to stop sharing the screen and just share something else a little bit more with you. So just stop screen sharing. So I'm just pausing here a little bit to have a little bit of a soapbox moment, because this is also one of the areas I'm really passionate about, and I've written books on that are coming out on Amazon shortly. People underestimate and say to me that they don't have a network. Now, on average, most people know over 1,000 people, but everyone will tell you that they know less than 200. And this is a visual that I'm just going to share with you that's in the books, and something that I also go through and work with people, is understanding that you have way, way more people in your network than you actually do realise. And here is my son Rory, who's actually now 12, and I apologise for it being backwards, but that actually is Rory's network when he was 5.5. Now, I know you can't read it necessarily backwards, but as a 5.5-year-old, Rory had 465 connections, and he was 5.5. He hadn't been at school very long, but you can see there that he had lots of names and lots of connections that we mapped out as an example to help people understand that they underestimate what and who they have as opportunities within their network. So that's where you really look at your network. And if I go back to sharing that screen now, where you actually go back and really, really look at your network and look at the people that you're looking for that can fill your needs, because in my experience, you're only ever one connection away from the people that you need. So that's that discovery of who are your potential partners and whereabouts are they. They're often hidden in plain sight in your network, and we go through discovering where they are and who they are. The next step is understanding the credibility loop. This is one that people like to overlook and try and skip at their detriment. When you're thinking of somebody, or you're investigating somebody, or you've been told about somebody or someone or a company, where is the first place that you go? Google, absolutely. The very first place that you go is Google. So I ask the question, what happens when somebody Googles your name? Now, this isn't about them finding your website. That's fine for them to find your website. But what happens when they find your, or Google your name firstly? What comes up for them? What social media sites come up for them? And what happens when they look at your website? Is it clean? Is it precise? Does it say what you want it to say? Do the pictures on your Facebook profile and LinkedIn profiles marry what you stand for? In other words, how are you being viewed, perceived, and judged? And are you deemed somebody that has influence based on what people find by Googling you? Looking at your social media profiles, particularly looking at your LinkedIn profile, and that's one of the hidden gems in collaborative partnership, is utilising LinkedIn. That's where I find all of my joint venture partners for myself and my clients. So how are you being perceived and judged? One of the key elements is making sure your credibility loop is tidy and looks as professional as it can be. And this is equally the same for your collaborative partner that you're going to collaborate with. You each need to be honest and open with everybody, and making sure that you're fixing and really making sure that credibility loop is maximised, so you're actually maximising your success as you work together. The next stage is when you've got your values sorted, your giftedness sorted, so you know what your partnership offer is, you know what your needs are, you know exactly who you're going to be starting to talk to, the types of people that you're looking to partner with. You've sorted out your credibility loop, so you're really confident. You know what you know, you know who you're going to speak to. It's easy, it's concise, it's understandable, it's ready to go. This enables you to create very confident results because you know why you're doing it, what you're going to say, when you need to approach somebody, how you need to start the conversation. And there's a term in business is how you start something is how something ends. So if you're starting something confidently, knowing what's happening, who's doing what when, then your outcomes are guaranteed because you've set the correct processes in place. So confidence in yourself, in your own abilities, and creating confident results is based on all of the steps beforehand and then coming to this point. Then, of course, you've got your results achieved. You know exactly who's going to be doing what and when they're doing it and how they're going to be going about doing it. So you've worked all of that out as part of your collaborative partnership and your conversation. The next thing in this area that we go through and we spend a lot of time is how and what are you going to continue as part of that conversation and communication plan. Because it's not a case of having a conversation, setting up a collaborative partnership and then no longer communicating. That's one of the easiest ways for collaborative partnerships to fail, which we'll be going through shortly. So you need to be able to know who's doing what when and how you're going to communicate that process and continue to communicate so you're following through and following on. So that's the 7 steps that we go through as part of what I teach in my coaching program, is how you get yourself collaborative partnering ready, knowing your value, understanding your giftedness and your effortlessness, packaging up your needs into a partnership offer, knowing the discovery and who you've got at your fingertips within your network that you can partner with, and how the other ways, obviously, how to then connect and find them on LinkedIn. How you build your credibility loop quickly and effectively to maximise your success, how you build your own confidence by knowing why and what you're doing, which is obviously all of the elements beforehand, and then creating great results by following through and following on with that communication process. So, before I get on to how most partnerships fail, I'd just like to talk a little bit about the changes that are occurring in and around the globe at the moment. So I'll just stop sharing my screen and come back to you face to face. So very, very excitingly, over the last probably 9 to 12 months, I've been watching what's been going on out in the global community, particularly Australia, USA and UK and New Zealand, because we sort of seem to follow suit quite a lot. And there's 2 really significant changes that are occurring. One is around events, and the second one is around the way women are making a shift in the marketplace. So let me explain the first one first, events. So backtracking slightly, we all use social media, am I right? We all have Facebook accounts or LinkedIn or some form of social media. Now, events are the big thing that's shifting here, and what we're finding is that lots of big businesses are actually going back to customer-focused events. So they're moving away from that very, very sell event, and they're getting back to customer-focused events. And they're referring to this as traditional marketing events being more like a traditional marketing tool. And they're adding that with their social media elements. And they say that traditional forms of advertising can provide a perfect bridge between that offline and online. And that's where the advantage of those customer-focused events or Tampa Nights are so effective, because you're actually adding a bridge, and by having those events and taking lots of pictures and people talking you up through word of mouth, all of those sorts of conversations from that offline event become online, and that's also where you create a lot of leverage through your marketing. So you're using offline and online, and that's where you create a lot more additional profitability. And it opens up, as I said, more opportunities. And major brands are doing this a lot. You will have all experienced major fashion houses working with celebrities and doing endorsements and partnerships in that manner. But what I found particularly interesting, and we've all heard of bloggers. You may be a blogger, or you know bloggers. Now, bloggers are usually sitting behind their computers, writing articles and making comments. Now, what's significant here is bloggers are actually now coming face to face with their customers. They are actually creating blogger socials, much like your school reunions or socials at school. Bloggers are actually coming out from behind their keyboards and out into the open, where they are now meeting their customers face to face. And what this is doing, as do events, you're actually building a database of not just names, but you're building a database of relationships, of feelings, of emotions, where people are connecting back to community, where people are also having that sense that customers are feeling as though they're belonging to something and they're feeling valued. And as a consumer, and to provide some more marketing statistics, 70% of buying experiences are based on how a customer feels emotionally and how they feel they are being treated. And that is why you find the big brands are coming back to their customer-focused style events and re-engaging from just that online presence to that offline presence with their customers. And they're coming together to build that loyalty and increase their own profitability. And as I mentioned earlier, events are a great way to tap into all of those benefits of a collaborative partnership. And belonging from a customer and a person and a human's perspective is primal. It's actually fundamental to our sense of belonging and happiness and well-being. So doing those sorts of style events really makes a significant difference in the way your customers will feel and interact and then talk about you. And one of my things that I get from events, and something that I'm really wanting to achieve within my own business and network, like these sorts of events that I've done today, is that I want to give people a sense of that they're not alone. That they're not alone, that they belong, and that it's only going to get better. So that in itself is pretty powerful. But you imagine bringing that into your business, how that's going to attract people to you. So that's the big shift globally. Lots of big businesses and even bloggers are going back to that event, customer-focused event style of building their businesses and their profitability and getting back to touch points with customers. The second really big shift, as I mentioned, is women. And what we're finding is women are coming out of that very bold, very masculine sense that we've been in for the last 10, 15 years, and I'm going to include myself in that, where we've dressed very masculine, we've marched into a room, we've doing the hands, so we've had that very masculine approach, we've been very ballsy, we've been very, very competitive. Now, and I believe part of this is because through the influx of personal development, women, when we've sat in the room, we've interpreted being strong and decisive as also being competitive. So we had become very competitive. As a result of being competitive, we've decided we needed to be soloists. So we've done everything on our own. We've forgotten what we used to do in the 50s and 60s, and that was collaborate. Women naturally collaborate. And if you look back and think about when we seeing pictures of family members or seeing different shows on TV, you'll see women collaborating and getting together around a kitchen table or a community hall or in the church. Now, admittedly, at that time, women weren't working as much and striving as much as what we are now. But that natural collaboration, that natural talking and sharing and helping, being support to each other is very much coming back into the fold for women. And that was exactly why I created Business Mum Solutions. Even though I do work with guys and girls and always have done as part of my business development and joint venture work, it enables me to really assist women get into their natural flow of being collaborative and finding all of the benefits that you can get with collaborative partnerships. So that was what I wanted to just share with the trends that are occurring within the marketplace. Definitely events, definitely customer focus, definitely totally leverageable as far as it works with a collaborative partnership, because you get to create and increase your leads, your profitability. You have more fun. You no longer have to be that soloist trudging through the trenches by yourself. You can actually do it now with your girlfriends and create a lot of leverage with word of mouth and your social media sites to generate additional business for you. So let me now just share very quickly why most collaborative partnerships fail, so you can be prepared and mitigate against those failures. So I'll just share a screen again. To everyone. Excellent. Just check that's presented to everyone. Beautiful. So let me just scroll up. So this is where it's really important, and where over my 15 and 20 years of experience, I can share with you why and how most partnerships fail. And the bottom line is it's predominantly preparation, which is why I spent so much time putting together the 7 steps that I mentioned earlier. So you're mitigating against your failure as you go along. So the 4 big reasons are: you don't identify the audience or the partner and match the offer correctly, and I'll come back to that. You go too big too soon. You don't understand the numbers, like we talked about with the lists before, and you have unrealistic expectations. And the 4th one's a big one: people self-sabotage themselves. They jump the gun before they're ready, which relates to the 7 steps, or they skip steps and they don't set out communication and a follow-up plan. So let me just go through these a little bit more thoroughly with you. The first one: don't identify the audience or the partner and match the offer correctly. So if you're doing a collaborative partnership with somebody and you're sharing customers, but if you haven't identified those customer or that audience correctly, then when you go to them with an offer, you're not going to have a very successful result, because there's a mismatch between the offer and what the audience is actually looking for. So when you're identifying both your collaborative partners to start with, you need to really understand what it is that they're looking for and match your offer correctly. But you also need to consider the offer that you're putting together. Is it matching their customer base and your customer base correctly? Because if you haven't identified what ultimately the customer is looking for, or problems that you're going to solve, and you don't match that offer correctly, then you'll also have a poor result. And the reason you're doing collaborative partnering is to have a great result, is to increase your profitability, retain better quality customers longer, have more fun, and bring in income streams. The second big one is that people will go too big too soon. So if I use the analogy that you may have all heard before, of that we all have a customer base split up between A customers, A-grade customers, B-grade customers, C-grade customers, D-grade customers. Okay, so if you think of yourself along that criteria, if you're actually a C-grade customer, and I'm not taking or meaning any disrespect here, I'm just painting a picture. If you're a C-grade customer, in other words, you're relatively new, you're starting out, you've only been in business for a few years, and you go, wacky-do, I can go and do a collaborative partnership with somebody that's an A-grade client or business owner. They've been around in business for many years. Their business is perhaps generational. They've got all of their systems in place. They run at a fast pace. If you're a C grade with a C grade understandings of business, and you're trying to deal with somebody that's an A grade that really knows all there is to know, then your conversational styles and your interpretations are going to be a potential mismatch. So you're better off working, and of course that only leads to failure and disaster and disappointment. and wasted time. So this is all about you learning the ropes and working with people that are at the same caliber that you are. So if you're a small business, work with other small businesses to start with to get your feet on the ground. Then when you've done this a few times, then obviously you become the expert and you can do more of this and then can approach those bigger clients. So don't go too big too soon. Work with those that are most similar to you. The third one is not understanding the numbers or having unrealistic expectations. So that's really about particularly the understanding as it relates to list exchanges. An unrealistic expectation is going, woohoo, I've got 1,000 database exchange and expecting that you're going to get 500 customers that are actually going to purchase something. That's unrealistic, and the average industry norm is if you've got 1,000, you may end up with between 4 and 16 sales. So not understanding the numbers or unrealistic expectations. You also need to understand your own business numbers. You need to know what and what activities create the greatest results and return for you from a profitability point of view. So you need to make sure you understand some business basics and don't work with and operate with those unrealistic expectations of having a magic pill that's going to fix and solve all of your problems. You need to have common sense and understanding in there. The fourth one, as I mentioned, is probably the biggest, is the self-sabotage. Do I dare say women are brilliant at this, followed by procrastination at different times as well. So this is an area that I work very strongly with women as well. So the big one is people jump the gun before they are ready. What they in essence are doing is they're skipping one or other of these elements. Common one is, I don't really need to sort out my social media and my profile online. They skip this step. That damages their reputation long term, potentially. The other scenario is they don't spend time looking at what their natural giftedness is, because that is absolutely the sweet spot of putting a collaborative partnership together. If you've got 2 people working from their giftedness or 3 or 4 people working from their giftedness, magic happens, let me tell you. So it's very, very important to follow the steps to guarantee your greatest results. The other thing is the next one is not setting out that communication or that follow-up plan, and that really is this section here. Having that ongoing follow-up communication plan, because when you stop communicating, things stop. So if you've got an ongoing collaborative partnership with somebody, you need to have ongoing communication and an ongoing follow-up plan and oh my God, what happens if this goes wrong plan. And you need to have a level of communication that's going to enable that to be effortless for you and very easy for you because you set it out in the beginning. And as you'll see here, success is where preparation and opportunity meet. A very, very poignant quote for the discussion that we've had today. So here's a little bit more about me for those that would like to know a little bit more. You can contact me through Business Mum Solutions. I do offer free 20-minute consults to have a conversation. If somebody wants to have a quick conversation with me, we can map out some opportunities that you may have for collaborative partnerships. And then if you're wanting more help, obviously I've got lots of different ways that I can assist you. So let me just unscreen share myself and come back so you can see me. Excellent. So I hope you've enjoyed today's conversation around collaborative partnerships, that you've really grasped that it's very, very easy to do a collaborative partnership. There's just some fundamental steps that you need to follow to guarantee your ongoing success. We've talked about the common mistakes that most people made, so you're aware of those in advance so you can actually mitigate against those. But does it sound like a lot of work? Is it a lot of work? Yes, potentially it is. But it doesn't take long to be prepared. And when you are prepared, you have a rinse and repeat model. Rinse, repeat, profit. Rinse, repeat, profit. Everything that I teach is about doing it once and making it work long term. Do it once, make it work long term. This is all about building businesses that are fast, efficient, profitable, and allow you to spend more time with your family and have more fun along the way. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I do have another event on this evening, which I do run monthly, which is called a virtual circle. It's a virtual connecting circle that starts at 4 o'clock South Australian time. And I will literally sit here in this environment and answer questions. So if you've got some additional questions from today, or you've got some business development or growth questions or anything in general, then please don't hesitate to jump on that particular web jam, because it's an open conversations where I can actually answer questions for you specifically as it relates to your business. So thank you very much. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I look forward to meeting you again virtually and, more importantly, in person one day. Thank you very much. Bye.